welcome to CIO News. I am Afreen Khan, your host for the broadcast and head of operations at CIO News. This is our exclusive fireside chat powered by Avaya on transformation through customer experience. This is a recorded session and will be available on our website cionews.co.in and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. I am very excited to invite my guest for today, Mr. Venu Kasojjala, who is the Director of Information Technology at Franklin Templeton. Mr. Kasojjala possesses more than 18 years of experience in data analytics and information technology, and he's a veteran in this space. We welcome you, Venu.
Thanks a lot, Afrin, and thanks for that warm welcome.
Great. Along with me, I also have Mr. Bhavesh Vora, who's the sales engineering lead at Avaya. He's a dynamic and result-oriented professional with progressive leadership experience in enterprise telecom and IT industry. He possesses 20 plus years of working experience in various roles. Welcome, Bhavesh.
Thank you, Afreen. Thanks for having us.
Great. So let's just dive in. And, here we go with my first question to Venu. So, Venu, we know that, with the current growth in technology, according to you, how important is it to migrate to the cloud? And what factors do you consider while migrating to cloud?
Sure. First of all, nice meeting you all on this online forum. So, to answer this question specifically, Afrin, first of all, I would like to begin by saying this: not being on cloud is not an option anymore; it's a given, and I say that because of a number of reasons. Number one, ecosystem and creativity. Products that are complementing the IT implementation of a company are developed with cloud first focus. For example, CRMs like Salesforce or MS Dynamics, data warehouses like Snowflake, or simply a reporting or dashboarding application like Microsoft Power BI. They're all cloud based and work best on cloud because of a number of things they borrow from other products or applications on cloud uh, to make their offering more impressive or exciting for the customer. Another example for Microsoft Power BI is it can be enhanced by using narrative sciences from other providers on Azure Marketplace. Number two, scale and growth. In traditional setup, IT could only become an impediment for business aspirations of growth. For example, there is simply no way that somebody could stand up a data center to handle X plus 10 volumes of data in a day or two. And again, with cloud, you're consistent all the way, be it X plus 10, or X plus 100 levels of volume of volumes, with right setup. Number three, security and regulations. Um, See, there is more clarity now than ever about cloud and its implications for customers. There are data guidelines, there are security guidelines, there are even region-specific guidelines. So you're not in uncharted territory anymore for the most part. I hope that answers.
Yes, it does. In fact, when we are talking about cloud, yes, the next keyword there is scalability because we know for a fact that nowadays, the latest jargon is SaaS. Everything is supposed to be on cloud with the solution, and it is, that's the offering which goes. And the next word there is digitization. So, Bhavesh, would you want to just, out of curiosity, just check on anything related to that?
Yeah, sure. I think there's a very good insights, Mr. Venu. Just wanted to get a few more insights from you because the idea of this fireside chat is really understand what you are doing, in your capacity in Franklin Templeton, and if you can share some very interesting use cases. I think we started with the cloud point, which is one of the biggest pillars of digital transformation today, and we have seen that, I think it's very easy for CRM and analytics tools. The adoption on cloud is very very high, but if you look at some other solution scenarios, like maybe real-time communications or customer service, contact centers, do you think is there a reluctance to move those applications to cloud? And maybe Mr. Venu, if you can also share before that little bit of the background, what you do in Franklin Templeton, so maybe you can get the correct context. Sorry, I'm going a little
Absolutely.
bit back. I'll come to the digital also. Yes.
No issues,
Yeah,
no issues. So
yeah.
I'm responsible for data and analytics, and I'm in a broader umbrella for the Franklin Templeton as a company. I manage certain portions of data analytics for various business groups here at Franklin Templeton. To answer your question about
Mm.
IT, telephony, or any other communication tools, if they can move to cloud, absolutely yes. And are we seeing it across the spectrum? Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So I think, I mean, if you're when you're providing IT infrastructure service to Franklin Templeton back office, or the huge setup in Hyderabad in India, uh, now there is increasing talk of adoption of digital channels of either providing customer service or using it within the operations. So how, if you can share some use cases that you have done in your organization, how digital channels are used to enhance the customer experience?
Sure. So I think our time today can be best leveraged by talking about digital experience in a broad fashion, not just Franklin Templeton, because Franklin Templeton follows the industry and also what's in pace at any point
Mm.
in time. If that's okay with you, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
sure. So broadly, digital channels like chatbots or be it, communication channels like social media, etc., have made customer aware and intelligent. And these channels
Mm.
have also contributed to rapid growth of companies in many industries like tourism, healthcare, banking, etc. Now, the question is, how do you derive alpha from these digital channels? And the answer is in my opinion, that companies have to invest significantly to nurture and enhance customer or potential customer life cycle with them. And you might ask me, how do you do that? Well, it's not easy, but there are these key ingredients, that one has to think about or exercise on. Number one, do I know my customer? Number two, what's the story? Number three, am I being ethical? Are my services products well represented? Is there clutter or calmness? Am I using right technologies? What's my customer journey data telling me? So on and so forth, right? Um, Now, to add some color to what I just mentioned, let me give you one powerful example where the experience was incrementally enhanced, which I
Mm.
observed in the market very recently. um, I used to pick up tea at a small shop, and Ramu, who's the owner of that tea shop, and also the only employee there, used to multitask between being the cash collector and serving tea. A typical transaction there would have taken anywhere between 2 to 3 minutes, while there were about 20 other customers standing in the queue. Um, so for Ramu, the typical serve cycle for customer used to look something like this. Um, Go to the cash counter, take the cash from the customer, tender change, then go serve tea, which was again 2 to 3 minutes of Ramu's effort. Um, After the UPI revolution, companies like Paytm, PhonePe, they've put QR code machines on top of Ramo's
Yeah.
cash counter. Yeah.
Mm.
I simply used to go there, scan the UPI, pay the exact amount, which goes directly to Ramo's account. Ramo then validates the transaction on my phone and then serves the tea. This whole thing reduced the customer serve time and Ramo's effort by 1 minute flat. Yeah. Um you see, in my opinion, that's a greatest technology leap enhancing millions of small vendors and customers with their experience. But these UPI companies like Paytm or PhonePe, they knew their customers pretty well, and they wanted to further up the game. So in this example, each time a customer pays through UPI by scanning, Ramu was still required to validate the amount by looking at customer's phone or his own SMS from the bank before he serves the tea, which felt like inefficient, right? So the UPI companies, they've added a small speaker to the QR code machine, which was sitting on the cash counter. So whenever I paid 15 rupees by UPI, the speaker announces that I paid 15 rupees. Ramu is a happy man. He doesn't have to waste time on validations. He could simply focus on serving tea by hearing the announcement from the speaker, and there is no validation business here. uh,
Hmm.
the small enhancement to that already big leap, further reduced time by 30 seconds. So on the whole, Ramu spends less than 45 seconds on each customer. Yeah. um, so in this scenario of 20 waiting customers, Ramu finishes the job in less than 10 minutes compared to 60 minutes in the past. This is customer experience which has reached pinnacle, I would say. And in my opinion, this is how every company should be dealing with customer experience, which eventually adds to economies of scale, greater revenues, less cost, and things like that. I hope. I know you started off with a use case scenario, but I'm saying, um, picking up on a broader use case which touches life might explain how customer experience can be enhanced using digital channels.
Yeah, I think that's a very good use case. It has improved the productivity of all tea sellers, people selling coconuts on the trees, coconuts on the streets, all your sugarcane juice sellers, everything.
Yeah,
So I think let's go to the next point. Afreen, maybe you want to ask the next question
Yes,
about
in fact, I
customer
was
experience. Yeah.
Yes, I was actually going to say this example is so relatable to all of us. And, we've
Mm.
seen that, the gradual improvement in the customer experience even at a tea stall. So, all that you've mentioned, from knowing your customer to ethics, to the technology consumption in making the customer experience better for our customers. So, we know for a fact that customer experience is the jargon when it comes to, all the businesses across industries. But how do you measure customer experience? And, if there are any tips, if you could share them, and, how customer experience can be enhanced using technology, what are your thoughts?
sure. So I think my answer is, like, going back to the earlier example. Uh, Measurement of customer experience in itself is a prolonged process. It doesn't come out with a metric scale and things like that, but it is all around. Like, there are signals, there are some tangible parameters which can tell you, how the customer experience have been. So I'll not revisit the earlier example which I just gave, but I would add that, if you want to be really really nitpicking on the tangible parameters, your revenue says, how your customer experience was. Your customer retention percentages tell you as to, how the customer experience was. And those will actually lead you to higher customer acquisition growth rates, if you concentrate on them.
Great, great. I think yes. We always say that numbers speak for all the efforts that we put in, and I think, yeah, when we talk about customer retention or the revenue generation, they are the biggest. I would say they're the biggest proofs when it comes to how much of customer experience we've bettered. So, Bhavesh, you think there's something that you would want to actually add or ask Venu on that line?
Yeah, I think in the IT industry, being a CIO or a director IT, your definition of customer is also very, very wide. So for many ICIOs, maybe the customer for them is the employees, providing the right infrastructure, right tools. Your customer is also an end customer, the retail customers, because Franklin Templeton is a huge fund management company. So, I think we need to define who's our customer, and maybe we can do it more detailed subsequently. Define who's the customer and how do we provide service to that customer. But
Well
before
said.
that, I mean, if you want to touch upon that, anything on that, Mr. Venu, who you define as your customer and how do you measure your customer experience?
So for me, anybody who's touching my product or my service is a customer to me, be it internal or external. And for me, anybody who comes to me with a problem, or the solutions that I provide to them, they all have to be gauged. One way, obviously you cannot go and ask internal employees, like, I have a scale of 4, why don't you rate me on this and things like that. But your
Yeah.
regular interactions with them tells you, what they are thinking. And I think, a smart leader has to catch those signals and work upon improving his product or a solution or use case delivery, and things like that. But it is not different for an external customer as well, right? You cannot be disconnected with your product or a solution. You have to live it day in day out, and when you do that, you will have a pretty good handle of how the solution or a product is working, putting yourself in the shoes of the user, and then reiterating on fine tuning it and things like that. um, See, tangible parameters can help you only tell 25% of the story, in my opinion. But when you live and breathe the solution or a product that you're rolling out to the end user from end user's perspective, I think that's where the success is.
Okay, great. Yeah. I think I want to go to the next question now, Mr. Venu. Uh, we touched upon digital channels, and you touched upon very interesting points like customer journey, and maybe customer sentiments and all. Today, I think we should talk about social media a lot. How social media companies have acquired millions of customers in a few months. Now, there's a latest animal, on AI called ChatGPT. That's a it's claimed to have in within 6 months it has enrolled maybe millions of customers. People are experimenting, doing small projects, doing certain things. What do you see? But while it is more in the B2C space, do you see Chat GPT getting employed within an enterprise? Are you planning to use those kind of tools within your kind of company? If you could share some light on that.
Sure, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
see, Chat GPT is just one application of AI, right?
Mm.
So the question should be, how do you think AI would shape the technology world or the experiences for the customer, right? But I'll answer your question. Chat GPT, definitely yes. Every company has to use it, will use it
Mhm.
in some way, form, or shape. They might not call it Chat GPT. They might call it something. They might not use the code in its entirety. They might use it fractions and bits and pieces of it. But yeah, uh, you know a smart search with some sort of what you say context is definitely required. I see this pertinent in organizations which are dealing with uh, B2C customers, as you rightly mentioned, but it's also very relevant for B2B customers. But I think it will take B2C by storm and then move on
Mhm.
to B2B, and it will be everywhere by the time you think of it. Yeah. So that's the Chat GPT part. Now, if you're okay, I'll take the question to 5,000 feet above, and we should also discuss about how AI is changing
Please,
lives. Yeah,
please go ahead. Yes.
yeah. Um, the simple matter of the fact is that the companies are putting double the effort to earn a dollar than they used to in the past. On the same breath, I would also say that the cost to earn that dollar has increased significantly due to labor costs, due to real estate, so on and so forth. But technologies like AI has the capability to help companies reverse that situation.
Mm.
So let me pick up another recent example. That I was reading somewhere. Um, a food delivery app in India, understood the customers' sentiment or preferences. They felt like customers in one area preferred food from restaurants in other area, which was 30 to 40 miles away. Yeah. So they started a free time based delivery of the same and started earning 3x of revenues. Now, what's the problem here? The problem is, let's say you're in area 1 and you want food from restaurant which is in area 2, which is like 40 miles away. The distance itself is a problem, for somebody who
Mhm.
has life commitments like studying or job and things like that. Number 2, when the cities are growing, your traffic is a big impediment. Even if somebody wants to travel there, pick up the food themselves, traffic becomes a very big impediment. It takes away time and things like that. So this particular use case has increased the food delivery companies revenues, and also it has taken away the problems that the customers face to get that food to their place. Now, how did the food delivery company it identified this problem? They've built a self-learning AI model which regressed on the data using multiple parameters collected from various sources, and pushed focused campaigns to some select customers to validate its hypothesis. Once the
Mm.
hypothesis was successful, it operationalized the core of the algorithm at scale. You see, in all the in all this process, probably there is very less investment required on real estate or human capital, or for that matter any of the depreciable assets. It's a revenue simply earned on a program uh, which was built by the existing IT setup that the company had. That's the kind of power that AI brings to the table to enhance customer experience, increase revenues for the companies, and decrease inefficiencies. I hope I answered your question, and probably took it to the broader level.
No, no, that's a very fabulous use case in the food, because one of the very large food delivery app companies is a customer of Avaya, and I have personally learned a lot interacting with them. Because we provide them customer service solutions, and they have told us, how, for each user the experience of the app is different depending on what he has ordered. So now they know this person will like to order what type of food at what
Yeah,
time, and what are the recommended restaurants, very much like the Netflix experience. It's
absolutely.
it's a complete AI experience that now is a reality today, which used to be just be spoken about, maybe a year ago, 2 year ago. AI is very much a reality today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
Yeah,
those insights. Yes.
no problem.
So I think when we talk about the examples that you gave, and absolutely, it's very very relatable. For a fact that this is something which actually helps an organization to have an edge over the competitors also, because ultimately customer retention is a very very big factor when it comes to revenue generation, and the kind of competition in the market across industries. It is very very imperative for people to kind of
Absolutely.
have this thing in place. It's like, someone gave me an example earlier also, that, when you book a cab, the cab is going to arrive in 10 minutes. But the experience of, you just tracking the cab till the time it reaches your doorstep, it will still come in 10 minutes, but then the satisfaction, where it is. It's, using the psychological piece, and, giving the customer a better experience. So that's, one of the examples that just hit me right now. So, great insights, and it was lovely chatting with you, Havish, as well. So, any
Thank you.
last any last inputs from you, for our viewers?
I think cloud and AI, it's a deadly combination, which is going to take the erstwhile technology that we knew to incremental heights in years to come. So I'm just happy that we are talking about this today. So thanks for inviting me.
Great. It was great, really great having you. And any last inputs from you, Bhavesh?
No, I think it was good having a good fireside chat with Mr. Venu. I think I'm doing it after a very, very long time. There was a huge break. Good insights. I personally love to hear, the inputs given by CIOs and CX leaders, because that is how we also always learn. While we may read a lot, talking to real people who are handling real business problems on a day-to-day basis is a totally different ballgame. Thank you very much for having us.
Great.
Likewise. Thanks,
So,
Bhavesh.
thank you, Bhavesh. Thank you, Venu. Thank you so much.